And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Gekido, or Gekido, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It is a robot battle. This is a dice rolling robot battle game. If you've heard of a game called King of Tokyo or Ultimate Warriors, it's very much like that. You're going to have different robots, and you're going to be chucking dice Yahtzee style, re-rolling them to be the last robot standing in an arena. Here's how it plays. You're going to build the arena out of tiles here. Obviously, this one here always goes in the center. You have these four and then the four corners. This is kind of an example of what I call of randomness that you don't need. I think I would have been perfectly fine if the board had been set up the same way every time. Although if you want to play a duel game, you can play with just 4 tiles, set up any way you want. That's just for 2 players. Each player is going to get a robot, and that robot is going to have a card that matches them. The cards have 2 sides, one if you're playing with 3 or 4 players, and if you're playing a quick, fast duel mode, then you'll just use the other side. It's for a much faster game. When you take your robot, you're going to get that robot's model, and I think we should pause here for a moment and just look at how fun the models are. They're really nice plastic pieces on a stand. They're already pre-painted for you like they show here. Each player is going to pick a spot on the board, except for the middle where they're going to start. Each player is also going to have in front of them 3 target locks. Now these target locks are going to match each of the other players. Well, I guess if you're only playing a 3-player game, you would have 2 target locks. So in this particular game, if I was this robot here, who is, I still don't have all their names memorized yet, but that guy is Tetsubot. He would have Meow, Slicer, and Pytron. Those are the 3 against him. And he have all 3 in front of him like this, face up. On your turn, if you are not next to one of the targets that are ready, then you must move to them, and you may move if you want to. So you can move 1 space in any direction. So let's say Tetsubot wants to move here to the middle. Now he can hit anybody. He decides which character he's going to attack and flips that one over. So he can attack Meow, flips it over. Next time he can only attack Slicer and Pytron. Once maybe he hits Slicer, after that he hits Pytron, then they all flip over again. So you have to hit everybody. When you are finished with your attack, you can then move again, but only if you didn't move at the beginning. So here he can't move because he moved at the beginning of his turn. So how does an attack work? Well, first thing first is you're going to roll these 5 dice. These 5 dice have 6 different colors and shapes on the sides. So there's yellow X's, blue diamonds, etc. And to do this, we need to look at the character board. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to have structure dice put next to their character board that are put on the number 6s here. This is to show how much damage they can take. So he has 30 points of damage, 5 dice that are 6s. And this is the duel mode. So let's show the actual other side. So here he's going to actually have 6 dice. So he has 36 points of damage. Now, when you're attacking someone, you're going to roll the dice like this. You're then going to determine what kind of attack to make. I can do 2 pairs, 3 of a kind, full house, 4 of a kind, 5 different, but no reds, because red is his color, or 5 of a kind. Well, I'm feeling like maybe a full house is possible. So I'm going to put these 2 green dice here and this yellow die here. I then get 2 more rolls. Well, I got it. Full house. So I'm going to do 4 damage to the person I'm attacking. If I had failed getting a full house, I would take 2 damage. So you can see the harder they are, the more damage. This one, 5 of a kind does 12, but I would take 6 if it fails. 5 different does 8, but I take 4 if it fails. The weakest ones, the 2 pairs or 3 of a kind, those are easy to do. They only do 1 or 2 damage, but you get to draw 2 or 1 cards from a deck. And when you get these cards, there's all sorts of different cards. Some can only be used when you're attacking someone. Flip a die to a red one. You may use 2 of your powers on this attack. Some can only be used when you're defensive. Redirect 6 damage to this bot, cancel a card that was just played. And some can be used at any point. Play after an attack is declared, gain an armor die, or remove 1 opponent's armor die. So different things can be done with these cards. These cards are useful to have. You also, after you roll And when you're hitting your opponent, you can use any special abilities you might have. Many of these abilities might be from the tile that you're sitting on top of. This one here lets you flip one tile to the opposite side. And at the bottom here, it shows you what's on the opposite side, so that makes it simple. This one here gives you a 4th reroll. Some give you this gives you -2 to attack, but gives you +2 when someone else is attacking you. The middle spot, which is where you saw me move my robot, is -2 on defense. However, at the end of my turn, I can draw 3 tech cards and choose one of them to keep. Now, when you damage somebody, let's say this Tetsubot's hit for 7 damage. Well, he loses this die for 6, and then this one goes down by 1 to 5. When you lose your last damage, you're out of the game. However, when you take damage, each structure die that you lose will give you some sort of benefit. So the first one here says 1 upgrade. So I'm going to put a 1 here and his upgrade at the bottom. This is 1 upgrade to defense. That means he always subtracts 1 from any damage taken as defense. The next die, when he loses, he gets a power. He can choose one of these powers to take. So maybe he puts a 2 here, prevent 4 damage. Twice he can use this. Each time he uses it, he just drops it down 1 and then puts it on the red 6 to show that it's empty. But he can use those as defense to prevent 4 damage. Or maybe I want to go here to roll an extra die. The game comes with a 6 die. Or here to flip a die. You can use 1 power or 1 ability on a tile for each roll that you do. So 2 of these dice give him power. This one here gives him another upgrade, so this defense would go to 2. And this one gives him a card and another upgrade. And they all have different things that they'll do. So for example, you'll see Meow here gets power, 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 plus power. So she has a lot more powers to use. And here can add 2 to one of the powers that she has, but she has no upgrade. While Overclock, he also has an upgrade on defense and a few powers. And Slicer has an upgrade on attack, so it will add to this robot's attack, but also they get armor too. When you have armor, you simply will roll a die and put it up in your armor. Some cards will give you armor too. And when you take damage, you take the damage from the armor first before your structure points. You also notice here in the top corner, there's a limit of how many cards you can have. And that's pretty much the game. You're just going to keep going back and forth, fighting each other, until when your robot is destroyed, you're out of the game. Last robot standing is the winner. Now let's talk about the components first. I really like the robots in this game. I think the robots are good quality. I've dropped them and they seem pretty good. I think it's interesting in this game, they have the window on the back, and you actually have to put one robot underneath the insert so you can see him from the back. Whatever, I'm just getting rid of the insert. Because I am keeping this game, I tend to like this. The best way for me to describe this to people is it's like King of Tokyo without the points. You're just coming in to fight. And it's simple fighting, and there's a lot of good aspects to it. First of all, each robot has a different feel. Not totally distinct, but they have different feels. Some are better at attack. Some, when they roll 5 of a kind, do 15 damage. Some get that bonus power to attack. Others are good on defense. Others have more powers and ways to manipulate the dice. And so they all have a kind of a different feel to them. But the game itself is pretty simple. You roll the dice and you say, okay, what kind of thing am I going to go for? I just rolled 3 of the same. Maybe I should go for 4 of a kind, or maybe even 5 of a kind. But if I fail, I'm going to take damage myself. Or maybe I should go for the weaker attack just to get some cards, build up my hand so I have those cards, which are really cool and fun to use and can let me make those extremely powerful attacks later on. The game has an excellent way. The targeting discs is a really great idea, because what it means is you kind of have to spread out who you hit. You can't just hit the same person over and over and over again. When you do take out a robot, it's fun, but you also get a card. It's like a piece of scrap you picked up. And while some people do not like elimination games, I'm not the biggest fan of elimination games, when you are taken out in this game, it's getting close to the end. You see people get pretty weakened together as time goes by, so if you get taken out, I can't see the game going 10 minutes more beyond that, unless you just got really unlucky, or were really bad at, hitting yourself every time you attack. The game also has a kind of the weaker gets stronger methodology, where every time you lose a structure die, you get stronger. It makes you madder. You're powering up. That's a good mechanism because, yeah, you're getting closer to death, but now you have powers that you can use and you can hit the other players. The cards keep a little bit of surprise in the game. You're never sure what another player's cards are. In fact, in one game we played, kind of came down to a weird thing that the rules didn't address, in the sense that one character was killed, but they had a card that said before they die, they had like a self-destruct, they could hit the person who hit them back. They killed them and everyone died together and we weren't sure who won. But for the most part, one robot will emerge victorious. The game takes about 30 minutes, a little bit less than that, well, a lot bit less than that if you're playing that 2x2 on a, that duel game. And it's just fun. There's lots of dice in the game. You get to roll, and even people who aren't necessarily people who want to just fight, they do like the Yahtzee rolls. I'm going to go for a full house this time. I'm going to go for the straight one of every color. The dice and everything is high quality. Does this replace King of Tokyo? Will be a question I'm sure will be asked, so I'll answer it here. I don't know. First of all, King of Tokyo has monsters and fun upgrades, and also has a way to get points rather than just fighting. And some people like that, so I think that has more of a wide appeal. But if you're someone like me who just wants to fight to the death, then yeah, I think I'd rather play this one. Although I'm happily easy to play both, and in fact, both are going to be in my collection. So a lot of fun, silly fun, dice chucking, robot chomping, smashing. Okay, I'm running out of adjectives. That's Gekido bot battles. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!